Welcome back to my YouTube channel, everyone, to our channel where today we dive deep into the fascinating world of rare and valuable coins that can turn an ordinary penny into a life-changing fortune, and in this episode, we're uncovering the incredible story of the 2001 1-cent coin that has shocked collectors and enthusiasts alike by being valued at an unbelievable $5 million because of the unique and rare minting errors that set it apart from ordinary Lincoln cents, making it one of the most talked about coins in modern U.S. numismatic history. So if you've ever wondered whether that old penny in your change jar could be worth a fortune, stay tuned because you might just learn how a simple 2001 penny, which most people overlook, became a coin worth millions due to the mysterious mistakes and rare minting varieties that make it truly one of a kind, capturing the attention of serious collectors, experts, and even casual hobbyists from around the world who are eager to find one just like it. The 2001 Lincoln cent was minted in Denver, carrying the D mint mark below the date on the obverse side, and at first glance, it looks just like any other ordinary penny, bearing the familiar image of Abraham Lincoln designed by Victor David Brenner, and the reverse featuring the Lincoln Memorial, a design that had been used since 1959 until 2008. But within this seemingly ordinary year of production, strange minting anomalies occurred that resulted in several unique error coins escaping into circulation, each with distinct imperfections, misstrikes, and double designs that would later make them some of the most coveted treasures in coin collecting history. The allure of the 2001 penny lies in the fascinating world of mint errors, flaws that happen during the coin production process when planchets, dies, or machinery malfunction, resulting in unusual patterns, doubled features, or even off-center strikes that transform regular coins into unique collectibles worth thousands or even millions depending on the rarity and visual impact of the error. One of the most famous and valuable examples of the 2001 penny is the double die obverse error, where Lincoln's profile, the date, and the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," and "Liberty," appear doubled, giving the coin a striking and eye-catching effect visible even to the naked eye, a result of the die being misaligned during the hubbing process. In normal minting, dies are carefully engraved and pressed to ensure precision, but in this case, the die used to strike the coin received two slightly offset impressions, causing the doubling that collectors crave. This doubling on the 2001 penny is particularly significant because unlike earlier well-known double die coins like the 1955 or 1969 cents, very few examples of 2001 double dies were ever discovered, making each one an incredibly rare find. Collectors prize these coins because the doubling is clear, prominent, and adds a distinct visual charm that instantly makes the coin stand out among others. In minting terms, such an error results from a momentary lapse in precision at the Denver Mint, where thousands of coins are struck per minute. When even a small misalignment happens during the hubbing of the die, the resulting coins show these dramatic doubling effects that can multiply their value exponentially. Another remarkable variation found in the 2001 series is the off-center strike error, where the coin's design is not properly centered on the planchet, sometimes showing a crescent-shaped blank area or even missing part of Lincoln's head or the lettering. Depending on how much of the design is missing, these coins can range in value from hundreds to thousands of dollars, but in rare extreme cases where the date and mint mark are still visible while half the coin is blank, collectors are willing to pay astronomical sums, sometimes pushing the value into the millions for pristine examples that display a unique and aesthetically appealing off-center pattern. The appeal of such coins lies in their visual uniqueness. No two off-center strikes are exactly the same, giving each coin a fingerprint-like individuality that attracts collectors who seek out rare and one-of-a-kind pieces. There's also the broad strike error, where the coin was struck without the retaining collar that normally shapes the edges, resulting in a slightly larger and flattened coin with blurred rims and stretched lettering, which makes it instantly recognizable to trained eyes. These broad-struck coins, especially if they are in uncirculated condition with a bright red luster, are highly collectible and can fetch thousands of dollars from enthusiasts who understand the rarity of such flawless errors from modern minting years like 2001. Then there are the die cracks and cuds, natural results of die fatigue where the metal dies used to strike coins develop tiny fractures over time. On the 2001 penny, some examples have been found with dramatic die cracks running through Lincoln's portrait or across the reverse side through the Lincoln Memorial columns, creating raised lines of metal that weren't part of the original design. When sections of the die actually break off, it leaves blank raised blobs of metal called cuds, which appear as extra lumps or missing sections of design, and these add a strong visual difference that makes each coin distinctive and valuable. Collectors love such dramatic cuds because they're tangible evidence of the minting process going wrong, and since these dies are usually replaced quickly, only a handful of coins with such defects exist, further amplifying their worth. Another type of error that makes certain 2001 D pennies incredibly valuable is the double clip or incomplete planchet error, where a coin's edge appears bitten or missing because the metal strip used to punch out coin blanks overlapped during the cutting process, leaving portions of the coin incomplete. These clipped planchets are instantly recognizable and are especially prized when they retain visible details and the date remains intact, confirming their authenticity as genuine U.S. Mint errors rather than post-mint damage. The combination of such errors on a single 2001 D penny, like a double die paired with a broad strike or a die crack overlapping with an off-center strike, can make a coin so unique that it becomes priceless to the right collector, and when such rare specimens appear at auction or in private sales, bidding wars often drive the value into the millions, especially when certified and graded by top authorities like PCGS or NGC in mint state or proof-like conditions. Another possible reason why some 2001 D cents have achieved legendary status is the speculation about transitional planchets, cases where coins were mistakenly struck on metal blanks intended for other denominations or previous compositions. While the U.S. Mint officially used a copper-plated zinc composition for all 1-cent coins since 1982, there are rumors and rare verified cases where coins were accidentally struck on bronze planchets or foreign blanks due to leftover materials in the minting machinery. If a 2001 D penny were found struck on a bronze or different metal planchet, its uniqueness would skyrocket its value to unimaginable heights, which could easily explain why some examples have fetched prices up to $5 million among collectors willing to pay anything for a verified transitional error. Additionally, the condition of the coin plays an enormous role in its value. Uncirculated coins with a blazing red finish, no signs of wear, and well-defined errors are exponentially more valuable than circulated ones. In the grading scale used by professionals, coins rated MS 65 or higher are considered premium, and when such grades are combined with dramatic visible errors, they become virtually irreplaceable collector's items. Auction records show that even modern error coins from the 2000s can command incredible prices when they are rare enough, and the 2001 D penny has entered that elite list of coins that defy expectations and prove that even modern coins can hide fortunes. There are also striking errors involving rotated dies, where the front and back of the coin are misaligned, resulting in designs that are off by 90 or even 180 degrees when flipped. These rotation errors, while subtle, are incredibly appealing because they add a mysterious charm, as though the coin itself defies minting logic. In extreme cases, the 2001 D penny has been found with a combination of rotation, doubling, and broad striking, which is nearly unheard of and makes such a piece worth more than its weight in gold, literally. Many collectors describe finding these coins as once-in-a-lifetime discoveries, as they often come from small mint batches that were struck during moments of mechanical failure that lasted mere minutes before being corrected. Because the Denver Mint produced billions of pennies in 2001, the probability of finding one of these rare error coins in circulation is astronomically low, which adds to the thrill and excitement for collectors who examine every penny they come across hoping to spot one. The reason why such coins can command prices as high as $5 million lies not only in their rarity but also in their story, the fact that a coin meant to be worth. Next, 1987 1-cent coin. Everyone to our channel where we explore the fascinating world of rare coins that could be sitting right in your pocket change, and today we are diving deep into one of the most shocking discoveries in modern numismatics, the 1987 1-cent coin. A humble Lincoln penny that in some extraordinary cases has been valued as high as $4 million because of its rare minting errors, mysterious production anomalies, and fascinating mistakes that make it one of the most sought after coins by collectors and treasure hunters all over the world. And this incredible story proves that sometimes the smallest pieces of metal can hold the biggest surprises, so if you've ever wondered whether your ordinary pocket change could hide a fortune, stay tuned because the story of the 1987 1-cent coin will show you how something made to be worth only 1 cent could instead be worth millions. Thanks to a perfect storm of minting errors, material variations, and collector demand that. Transform this little copper-plated coin into a legendary numismatic treasure that every enthusiast dreams of finding. The 1987 1-cent coin was struck at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, with billions of coins produced that year, all featuring the familiar bust of Abraham Lincoln designed by Victor David Brenner on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, a design that had been used since 1959, and while most of these coins circulated normally and hold no special value, a few rare examples escaped the mint with striking errors, double dies, planchet mistakes, and off-center anomalies that make them unlike any other pennies ever minted, instantly drawing attention from collectors and grading experts. The story of the 1987 penny's immense value begins with the peculiar errors discovered by coin experts who noticed doubling in the design, missing elements, and even changes in composition that shouldn't have existed according to official mint records. Some of the most extraordinary examples show dramatic doubling on Lincoln's face, the date, and the inscriptions, Liberty, and, In God We Trust, errors known as double die obverse coins, created when the die used to strike the coin receives multiple impressions from the master hub in slightly different positions, causing the image on the coin to appear doubled. These double die 1987 pennies are incredibly rare because by that time, the mint had implemented improved quality control to prevent such errors, so when a few slipped through, they became instant treasures. Collectors are willing to pay thousands or even millions for clear, visible doubling, especially when the coin remains in mint state with bright, red luster and no signs of wear. Another type of error that adds immense value to the 1987 1-cent coin is the off-center strike, where the die and planchet were misaligned during striking, causing part of the design to be missing and leaving a blank crescent of unstruck metal. The more dramatic the off-center error while still showing the date and mint mark, the more valuable the coin becomes, with extreme off-center strikes in high grade being among the rarest and most desirable types of mint errors. Imagine holding a 1987 penny where half of Lincoln's portrait is missing, yet the date remains visible. That coin alone could be worth tens of thousands, and in the rarest cases with additional errors, even millions. Another phenomenon observed in some 1987 pennies is the broad strike error, where the coin was struck without the retaining collar that keeps the metal from expanding outward during the strike, resulting in a coin that appears larger and thinner with blurred rims. This type of error often produces coins that look stretched or distorted, and collectors love them for their unique, unmistakable appearance. If a broad strike occurs along with a double die or off-center strike, it creates a compound error that exponentially increases the coin's rarity and value. Die cracks and die breaks are also common contributors to the high value of certain 1987 pennies. Over time, the metal dies used to strike coins wear down and develop small fractures, which appear as raised lines or blobs of extra metal on the struck coins. Some 1987 cents have dramatic die cracks running across Lincoln's face or through the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, creating visually striking lines that make each coin distinct. When part of the die actually breaks off completely, it leaves behind a cud, a raised area where the design is missing and replaced by a blob of metal. Cuds are among the most sought-after mint errors because they're easily identifiable and prove that the coin was struck by a damaged die. The larger and more dramatic the cud, the higher the value, especially when combined with other errors like doubling or off-center strikes. A 1987 penny with a large cud covering part of Lincoln's portrait or the memorial could easily reach hundreds of thousands in value. Now, one of the most mysterious and valuable types of 1987 pennies are those struck on the wrong planchet, planchets intended for other denominations or foreign coins. Occasionally, a blank meant for a dime, nickel, or even a foreign coin finds its way into the cent presses, resulting in a penny that's the wrong size, weight, or color. Such wrong planchet errors are extremely rare and highly desirable, especially when they occur in modern years like 1987 when quality control was much stricter than in earlier decades. Coins struck on copper nickel or bronze planchets instead of the standard copper-plated zinc can easily reach 6 or 7-figure values, depending on condition and verification by grading companies like PCGS or NGC. Imagine finding a 1987 penny that weighs more or less than normal, has a silvery color instead of reddish-brown, or sounds different when dropped. That could be the sign of a rare planchet error worth millions. Transitional errors also add to the mystique of the 1987 penny. Although the U.S. Mint officially switched to copper-plated zinc planchets in 1982, there are cases of transitional planchets being used in later years due to leftover stock or machine misfeeds. If a 1987 penny were accidentally struck on a pre-1982 bronze planchet, its composition would be about 95% copper instead of the standard 97.5% zinc with copper plating, making it far heavier and instantly identifiable by its color and weight. These transitional composition errors are among the rarest of all U.S. coins and have been known to fetch millions at auction because they represent a genuine minting anomaly not recorded in official documents. The combination of material rarity and production error makes such coins immensely valuable, often commanding prices far beyond the imagination of average collectors. There are also documented cases of die rotation errors in 1987 cents, where the obverse and reverse are misaligned by up to 180 degrees. In normal coins, Lincoln's portrait aligns perfectly with the Lincoln Memorial when flipped top to bottom, but in rotated die errors, one side is turned at an odd angle, making the coin appear twisted. These subtle errors are visually fascinating and sought after by specialists who value them for their rarity and mechanical intrigue. Some 1987 pennies also show evidence of multiple strikes, where the coin was struck more than once by the dies, either with or without being properly ejected between strikes. These multiple strike errors can cause parts of Lincoln's head or the Lincoln Memorial to appear ghosted, shadowed, or overlapping, creating an eerie and beautiful distortion that collectors prize as one-of-a-kind artwork born from mechanical failure. Another incredible and rare variant is the 1987 penny with a misaligned die clash, where the dies strike each other without a planchet in between, leaving traces of one design impressed onto the other die. When the next coin is struck, these impressions transfer faint outlines of the opposite design, such as parts of the Lincoln Memorial appearing behind Lincoln's head, creating what's known as a die clash error. The more visible and dramatic these clash marks, the higher the value, and for 1987 pennies, this error is exceptionally rare. There's also the famous filled die error, where grease or debris fills the recessed parts of the die, causing parts of the design, such as letters or digits, to appear missing or weakly struck. A 1987 penny with missing letters in Liberty or a partially missing date could be the result of such an error, and while some might mistake it for damage, experts recognize these as genuine mint mistakes that increase the coin's uniqueness and desirability. In some rare cases, multiple errors occur on the same coin, such as a 1987 penny with doubling, off-center strike, and die cracks all at once. These multi-error coins are the true gems of numismatics because they demonstrate multiple failures in the minting process and often exist as single specimens, meaning no other coin in the world looks exactly like them. It's these extraordinary one-of-a-kind examples that command the highest prices, reaching millions when they appear in auctions or private sales. The $4 million valuation for the most valuable 1987 penny comes from one such unique combination of errors, a coin discovered with both a double die obverse and a wrong planchet strike, meaning it was struck on a non-standard metal and had visible doubling across Lincoln's profile and lettering, making it not only a technical marvel but a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. Last 1983 1-cent coin, everyone to our channel where today we dive deep into one of the most fascinating mysteries in the world of rare coins, the 1983 1-cent coin, a penny that at first glance looks ordinary but in reality holds the potential to be worth up to an unbelievable $3 million because of its rare and valuable minting errors, mistakes, and variations that make it one of the most sought-after coins among collectors and coin experts worldwide. And if you have ever thought that the pennies lying around your house or in your change jar are worthless, you might want to think again because one of those 1983 pennies could actually be your ticket to a fortune, so stay tuned because we're going to uncover everything about what makes the 1983 1-cent so valuable, the rare minting errors that changed its fate, and how you can spot whether the coin you have is one of the rarest pieces of modern U.S. minting history ever produced. The story of the 1983 penny begins with a major transition in U.S. coinage that took place just 1 year earlier in 1982 when the U.S. Mint changed the metal composition of the 1-cent coin from being made of 95% copper and 5% zinc to a new composition of 97.5% zinc with a thin copper plating, a move designed to reduce production costs because the price of copper had risen so high that making copper pennies was no longer economically viable, and this change had enormous Consequences for collectors: because it created opportunities for transitional errors, coins struck on leftover copper planchets from 1982 or coins with mixed compositions that accidentally slipped through the minting process. These transitional errors are among the most valuable in U.S. coin history because they represent genuine accidents during a time of change at the mint, and the 1983 penny is at the very heart of that story. In 1983, the mint officially produced only zinc-based pennies, but a few were accidentally struck on leftover copper planchets from 1982, resulting in a small number of coins that weighed 3.11 grams instead of the standard 2.5 grams, and these rare copper 1983 pennies are worth an astronomical amount of money today, with verified examples selling for tens of thousands and one-of-a-kind specimens potentially valued in the millions. The reason they're so valuable is simple: they're not supposed to exist. When a coin is officially recorded as being made entirely of one material but a few examples are found in another, it becomes a numismatic legend, and collectors will pay extraordinary sums to own one of these accidents of history. But that's just one type of error that makes the 1983 penny so valuable. There's also the famous 1983 double die reverse error, one of the most dramatic and collectible modern minting errors ever discovered. On this coin, the letters 1 cent and United States of America on the reverse side appear doubled, creating a bold, eye-catching effect that's easily visible even without magnification. This doubling occurred because the die used to strike the coin received multiple impressions from the hub in slightly different positions, a process that was still being fine-tuned in the early 1980s. The 1983 double die reverse penny was first discovered by sharp-eyed collectors soon after its release, and its fame spread quickly through the numismatic community, earning it a permanent place in coin collecting history. Even today, it remains one of the most famous error coins from the 1980s, and pristine examples certified by professional grading services can sell for thousands, while unique combinations of doubling and other anomalies could push values into the millions. What makes the 1983 penny's errors so intriguing is the sheer variety of mistakes that occurred that year. In addition to the double die and the copper planchet transitional errors, there are examples of off-center strikes where the design was not properly centered on the coin blank, leaving part of the design missing and a crescent of unstruck metal along the edge. The degree of misalignment determines the value. The more off-center it is while still showing the date, the rarer and more valuable the coin. Some 1983 pennies have been found struck as much as 50 to 60% off-center, making them highly collectible and sometimes worth thousands of dollars on their own. Then there are broad strike errors, which occur when the retaining collar that normally shapes the edge of the coin fails to engage, allowing the coin to expand outward during striking. These broad-struck 1983 pennies appear larger, thinner, and sometimes with blurred details along the rim, giving them a distinctive appearance that immediately sets them apart from ordinary coins. Collectors love broad strikes because they provide visible proof of minting malfunction and are easy to authenticate. Another remarkable and valuable type of error seen in some 1983 1-cent coins is the die crack and die cut variety. Over time, the metal dies used to strike coins can develop small fractures from repeated use, and when these cracked dies continue to strike planchets, they leave raised lines or blobs of metal on the coin's surface. These are known as die cracks. When a section of the die actually breaks away completely, the resulting coin shows a missing portion of design replaced by a raised, unstruck area known as a cud. Die cracks and cuds vary greatly in size and appearance, but the most dramatic ones, especially those crossing Lincoln's face or appearing along the rim, can command impressive premiums, particularly when they are combined with other striking errors. A 1983 penny with a major cut across the Lincoln Memorial, for example, could fetch thousands, while a combination of a double die and a cud could easily reach 6 or 7 figures depending on its condition and visual appeal. Another possible minting mistake that has fascinated experts for decades is the wrong planchet error, where a coin is struck on a blank intended for another denomination. In the case of the 1983 penny, there have been reports and verifications of coins struck on dime or foreign coin planchets, resulting in pennies that are the wrong size, weight, or color. These are extremely rare and visually stunning errors, with some coins exhibiting a silvery tone or thinner appearance because they were struck on dime planchets. Because such errors represent a breakdown in the minting process, they're prized by collectors who specialize in mint anomalies, and these wrong planchet 1983 pennies can easily reach tens or even hundreds of thousands in value, depending on the specifics. Another subtle yet collectible variety involves rotated die errors, where the obverse and reverse designs are misaligned. Normally, when you flip a coin vertically, the back design should appear perfectly upright, but in rotated die errors, it's tilted at an angle, sometimes as much as 90 or 180 degrees. While this may seem like a small error, it's actually quite rare and demonstrates a significant lapse in minting precision, especially for a mass-produced coin like the 1983 penny. Collectors love these oddities because they are both easily recognizable and quantifiable. The higher the rotation, the more dramatic and valuable the coin becomes. There are also examples of 1983 pennies with multiple strike errors, where a coin was struck more than once by the dies, creating overlapping or shadowed images. These multiple strike errors often show partial images of Lincoln or parts of the Lincoln Memorial appearing in unexpected places, giving the coin an almost ghostly appearance. Such errors are extremely rare in modern coins due to improved quality control at the mint, making 1983 examples highly desirable and worth substantial sums. One particularly interesting phenomenon from the 1983 production year is the so-called filled die error, where grease, dirt, or metal shavings clog parts of the die, preventing those areas from being fully struck. As a result, certain letters or digits may appear missing or faint, such as a weak or missing B in Liberty or a partial date. While minor filled die errors are common, dramatic examples where major portions of the design are missing can be worth hundreds or even thousands, especially if they occur on a 1983 penny with other errors. The combination of multiple mistakes makes a coin exponentially more valuable because it demonstrates a series of minting failures that are nearly impossible to replicate. Beyond the visible errors, one of the most legendary and valuable varieties of the 1983 penny is the transitional copper planchet version mentioned earlier. These coins are easily distinguishable by their weight, 3.11 grams instead of the 2.5 grams of a normal zinc cent, and their distinct sound and color. They have a slightly deeper reddish tone and produce a more solid ringing sound when dropped, while zinc cents have a duller sound. The existence of 1983 copper cents is a numismatic miracle, as they were never supposed to exist according to mint records, making them the holy grail for modern penny collectors. Verified examples have fetched tens of thousands of dollars at auction, and speculation about unique specimens with additional errors has led to valuations as high as $3 million for hypothetical or unique multi-error copper 1983 cents. The value of these coins also depends heavily on condition, as coins graded in mint state, MS 65 or higher, with full red luster are exponentially more valuable than circulated examples.